Hi there, I'm Jan. Really, very, very happy to be here. One question I wanted to ask everybody, just to get a sense of the room. Who here is a B2B organization? Okay, most of you, good. B2C? Both? Okay. Who here believes that their website is their best performing sales channel? Oh, eerie silence. Who thinks it's possible to make your website your best performing sales channel? All right, here we go. You're an easier crowd than the last one I was at. Oh my God. Right, so as introduced, I've kind of who I am. Been with Lido for about 6 months. Really excited. We love actually really activating web audiences, qualifying them, converting them into new business opportunities, and then of course really understanding who they are, what they've been doing on the sites, and what actually drove that conversion. So this is what we're really passionate about at Lido. What we're going to cover today, very quickly in the next 20 minutes, we're going to talk a bit about how the digital native buyers own all the cards, how it's just completely changed, accelerated that over the past couple of years during COVID. And then we're going to talk a bit about how to win, how you can enable your website to convert more. And then really importantly, very importantly, take a quiz at the end. So we've got a little quiz for you to take. And there are going to be questions about what's being covered in this presentation. So pay attention. And there's going to be prizes. We've got an Alexa Echo Dot. We've got some bubbly if you want some of that. So pay attention. So want to kick off with kind of a few key trends which make it really a strategic imperative for us to evolve our website experiences and really stay competitive. Because today's online buyers have never been held more power than ever before. They're independent, they're super empowered, and their expectations continue to rise sharply. And of course, the pandemic accelerated this. This particular stat will be of particular interest to you B2B folk. According to Gartner, this is a piece of research last year, buyers don't spend time with us. They don't want to spend time with us. They want to do things independently. 83% of their time is actually buying independent of spending time with you as suppliers. That's quite an alarming stat. And what that basically says is we need to give them what they need in the online space to actually buy. There's also this huge explosion of competition. Again, this stat here is going to be quite alarming. This is particularly from the US, estimated 12.3 billion spent on paid ads and only converting on landing pages an estimated 2% of the time. So we're really here kind of battling for people's attention. And really this 2% stat, or less than 2% in most cases, is objectively ridiculous. It means that 98 people out of 100 on your website aren't actually doing anything. They're not converting. They're not interacting with you. So we're kind of burning through a lot of our budgets, really trying to continually attract more visitors. And I completely respect that. And I think that's what we have to do. And as marketers, you know, we're doing some amazing things to drive people's attention. But we need to capitalize on them when they actually come to our sites. You're also no longer competing with your traditional industry rivals. You're competing with experiences that these kinds of companies offer, amongst many others. They expect seamless experiences, ideally personalized, and they want to do it when it's convenient for them. So if we don't offer this experience, they will probably bounce off our sites. I'd say on average, half, if not more, people that come onto our sites are actually bouncing off pretty quickly. That's impacting our SEO rankings. So to recap, we know we have, the buyers have more power, they have more information than ever before, there's an incredible amount of choice out there, and we're battling for their attention. The cost of online advertising is kind of also increasing. And they expect to find what they want and what they need really fast. So, and if that's not on offer, they're going to move on. So according to research done by, that's quite a small logo, Marketo, people who come to your website for the first time are not ready to buy. So, why are still so many of us creating these static website experiences where the only way for visitors to engage with you, to interact with you, is to fill out one of these mega forms? Now, this is obviously a bit extreme for effect, but that's often the case. A lot of the internet, we go onto a website, we want to engage, we fill out a contact form and then hope for a call back, or maybe an email back at some point in the next couple of days. There's no engagement, there's no activation, there's no personalization, no experience. We put a lot of effort into getting people onto our websites, getting our ideal customers onto our websites. And just that idea of most of them getting off and not engaging is really alarming. I think what we are doing, we're great at bringing them in. We've got lots of information on our sites, and we expect them to engage straight away. But we need to treat our customers in that middle part. We need to nurture them in a conversation throughout that process. We don't want to just engage with them when they're ready to engage with us and ready to purchase something from us. So I want you to imagine you are an owner of a high street clothing store. You put a lot of time and effort into the design, into the layout, the products, the lighting. You've got a nice big screen in the background with videos. You know, there's some nice plants in there, probably some really good music, kind of trendy music to get you in the mood for a bit of shopping. They've obviously thought about the comfort of the changing rooms as well. Overall, it's a really nice experience. But what's missing from this experience? Pretty obvious. Anybody want to shout? Customers, people, absolutely. People to engage you, to help you find what you need and understand what you're looking for. If you're looking for something in particular, to interact with you, to show some interest in you, and understand why you visited the store, what your needs are. Most of our websites are experiences like this. Got lots of content, really nicely designed websites, but simply nobody to talk to. Nobody to help me, nobody to ask questions to. And so the very idea of actually going into a store like this in the real environment, we can learn a lot from traditional bricks and mortar. And being greeted, not being greeted immediately by somebody at the store is pretty unlikely. So why would you do this online, where buyers are spending most of their time nowadays? Now, I'm not suggesting that you will always interact with somebody. We know you get the shop assistant, they approach you, he's like, no, I'm okay, that's fine. But they're there. They're there. They're there if you need them, if you want to interact with them, and available. And they're kind of there throughout your experience, from the moment you walk in, to when you try the clothes on, to when you go to the checkout counter. We know that high street retailers, if they don't have those kinds of shop assistants, those people engaging with the customers, there's going to be a huge amount of browsing, probably not a huge amount of buying. And so here's the situation. More than 98% of the website visitors leave without converting. So it's kind of imagine that you are that store owner and they're browsing. You've got 100 people in your store and they're browsing. And then, actually half of them have left already. Okay, so you're down to 50. And then you're sat there at the counter with your hands crossed, not really interacting with people. Until 2 of them finally come to the counter and start engaging with you. And then you're talking to them, you have a chat with them, which is great. But the other 48, they've also just gone. They've already left the store. And they haven't been interacted with. You don't know who they are. You have no understanding of why they've come to your website, and what their motivations were, where they are in terms of that buying process. And we haven't collected any of their contact data either, which is a real shame. We kind of need to do that a lot more now in the cookieless world that's coming. But at least you've got these two that you can chat with. Yay. And hopefully do some business with. Now, if you were really the owner of that store, and this was your reality, you would go bankrupt, unfortunately. So then this happens. We're spending more time and resource and a lot of budget, obviously, on retargeting. And we need to do that. We need to get people to come back to our websites because they've obviously shown an interest at some point. But we're also almost like they leave the store and then we're basically shouting at them, come back, come back, come back into the store, come, come, after having not talked to them whilst they're actually in your store. So, it's getting harder to sort of justify that kind of spend with the CFO when, whilst we're generating a lot of great awareness, we're building our profile, we're getting great visitors onto our website, but we're really needing to measurably contribute to the actual bottom line of our businesses. So, hope I got my message across. I think we're clearly not capitalizing on all the marketing efforts we're putting in to drive these people to our website. We need to find better ways of doing things. So, let's come back to the original point of this talk. There are lots of ways you can make your website your best performing sales channel. I'm not saying that we're the only way, but these are some opinions that we have at Lidu. We believe that what's really important first and foremost is engage in customer conversations. We need to enable them to find what's on our websites, to help personalize their experience, depending on that buying stage that they're at. If we're engaging our visitors into a conversation like we would in that high street retail store, we're humanizing the experience. And it will at least help you to create that exceptional customer experience we always want to create. That's ultimately the huge motivation that we want to have, in this. And of course, when what that does, and that leads to long-term revenue growth. It's not rocket science, but creating conversations actually has a huge impact, obviously, on your website. And don't take it from me, take it from her. She's pretty smart. Real insights don't just come from data alone, they come from conversations. So I'd like to show you an example of what engaging in customer conversations looks like on websites. It's actually one of our customers, DTech International. They're an RFID technology business, and they've got lots of content on their site, a lot of product information on their website. First, in this particular example, you've got the classic chatbot. That's nothing new. But what that does is help signpost them and take them to the right page where they need to find what they have. So they understand their visitors are by and large not ready to complete a form or provide their contact information immediately. So they get into a conversation. And once they get to that product or service page, they have a contextually relevant conversation. So the chatbot is quite, generic. But it's really the real power is when you take them to the right page, you signpost them, put them to where they're really interested in, and then build a contextually relevant conversation about that product or that service. You can even, embed very specific video content. We know we have lots of videos that are probably in libraries on YouTube that aren't getting the views that we want. And then at the end, he's asking for an email address to provide a case study. Soft conversion, not a hard conversion. He appreciates that we're not ready quite to engage. They still need more information. But the conversation is started. They're building a profile of who this person is on their website. And we can get a lot of intelligence from these people. The result was 2020 to 2021, traffic volume just under 30K. Actually, it went down the next year, but their conversions went up substantially. This is a bit of an extreme example. I can't say we increased conversions by 546% with everybody, but certainly sort of 30 to 70% is pretty realistic. This is another example. This is a team-building organization called Wild Goose. They do some amazing stuff. And their challenge was more about giving their traffic an opportunity to choose an event that suited their needs, to show the visitors what the events could look like, but also give them a super efficient way to calculate the price for these events without having to make an inquiry. Pricing, being fairly upfront about pricing is something that is particularly important. And I know a lot of us are service organizations. How long is a piece of string? We have different ranges. But be upfront. Be upfront about these things. Don't beat around the bush when it comes to what you guys are charging for the services that you offer. And then this, of course, automates the whole process for Wild Goose, and who previously would spend a lot of time and resource dealing with phone inquiries. So not only has this made their website their best performing sales channel, it's also enabled them to create huge resource efficiencies as well. So, next thing, visibility. We want to know who these people are. Where are they coming from? What's important to them? What actually advertising is working better than others? What content is converting better than others? What are the journeys on our websites? Are they going on towards that conversion? How many touch points or visits are needed before they convert? And what kind of conversations are they having with us? Now, once you have all that data and information, you can actually really create amazingly hyper-personalized experiences. And people feel really good. They feel really good when they're treated like an individual rather than a number. And I think from there, with all that data, we can make really smart, data-driven go-to-market decisions as well. So it can adjust how we're creating content on our website. We can adjust how we're advertising on the likes of LinkedIn, how we're advertising on the likes of Facebook, which ads, which content is actually enabling people more than others to get through that buying decision. Finally, forget what you've learned about conversion rate optimization until now. Bit controversial. We've been trained to think about websites, I think, in the wrong way. Most of us think that conversion optimization is about like big button colors, placement, color of the text, make it bigger, bigger, bigger. But I don't think it is. I think our visitors actually have way bigger obstacles than those. They typically have two things in their mind. Can this company that I'm visiting solve the problem I have, and how can they do it? If you're able to address those, then it doesn't matter as much how big your CTA button is, where it's located. People will convert. This is an example. This is our Lido virtual assistant. It's actually free. You can go and download one on our website. It's like Calendly, but on steroids. It's really fun. You can create all kinds of different conversation paths. You can link it to your calendar. People can book meetings really fast. So this is part of us trying to reduce friction for our interested prospects to actually come to us and book times out of our time. So we're not doing this sort of calendar email tennis to figure out when we can actually sit down and meet. Oh, and remember, don't do this either. Make sure you don't do that. That's going to create a lot of friction in the way people purchase. Now, we got personalization. Let's talk a little bit about personalization. Really, the 4 key ways to build personalization are this. So within the awareness phase, we need to understand who they are. We need to provide them with information and resource to help them towards that buying purchase. In the interest phase, they're interested, right? Their pain, their desire towards that product or service, it's grown, they're looking for more. And then really here, we need to prove to them that the need is real and they really benefit from our product or service. We should also educate the customer on how to buy and help them set their own buying criteria. In the consideration, they're obviously comparing options at this point. So we need to basically show to them that we care, we're the best option, we're better than our competitors, and ensure that they have all the information to make their buying decision much easier. And then finally, as discussed in the decision phase, when they contact you and they want to transact, get in touch with them as soon as possible. Minimize the friction as much as possible. So this is something that what it could potentially look like to enable your website to convert visitors. Hopefully you can read that. In the identification phase, are they the first visitor? Are they a returning visitor? Who are they? What company do they represent? What's the motive of that visitor? Next stage is actual activation. Help them navigate, help them find what they need on the site. Maybe offer a bit more of a personalized help. So if you want to trigger live chat at this point, fair enough. Engage them to learn more. Activate them with tests. So like with the Wild Goose example, you can create visual interactive tools to just engage them in a conversation really quickly. That was like a pricing calculator. Quite fun. And of course, it's all about the FAQs. Really remove all those blockers for them to actually understand what you can offer. Oops. And then convert. Help them choose the right product. Qualify them. Understand who they are. We know a lot of us can probably generate plenty of leads, but we can't generate necessarily the best leads. We don't want to be generating 100 leads and then 70 of them not being the right leads, and then spending a lot of time trying to find those other 30 that are really good. So, and I think offer different types of conversions. So don't just ask them to contact you, make an inquiry. You know, get them to sign up to webinars, newsletters, other events. Do other soft conversions. And then finally, really understand what was that journey look like to get them to actually convert for your website. What touch points, what efforts contributed, and what traffic sources attribute that to that conversation, or that conversion, sorry. So finally, just a few stats, if you weren't convinced already. These are pretty substantial stats. I kind of am a little bit surprised. I've only been with Lido for 6 months, so this space is still a little bit new to me. But I think particularly that top right corner, that's pretty interesting. 4 out of 10 people actually are using conversational tools to actually make purchases. And I think also this 30% just really reducing time. So it's not just about revenue growth, it's also about creating huge efficiencies within your own business for customer support. So in summary, activate your visitors into a conversation without being intrusive. Make them feel welcome and collect their data. Make it as easy and seamless for your visitors to navigate the problem they have, come to your website to solve. Leverage their data to help drive more efficiencies, to help them in your go-to-market strategies. And then I think this is a really big one. Be an experience company. Don't be a widgets company. Don't be a product-oriented company. Be an experience company. Enable your customers with an experience. That's what we need. That's what we expect. And that's going to be done through much more hyper-personalization and making it really low in terms of friction. And concluding thought from this man. Play in the jungle, not in the zoo. Go and meet your audience and understand them. Hear the nuance of their life and language. Go to where they live, not where you wish they lived. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.